In the previous video, we saw how we can configure a website using DREAMWEAVER and how we can use the Files panel, and also how we can start to customize a little bit the main elements of a standard HTML page. So the background, we can place a color or an image. We can change the font color and also the color of the links and when they are visited and when they're not. So we started to customize just a little bit, and we saw that all these styles that we applied, they went into the body tag with different properties right here. And so not only we saw we can configure a website, but also how we can start to set up and set the standard pages, and also we can basically configure everything using the preferences and also the keyboard shortcuts if we want to customize also these parts, so the entire software. Now, as you can see here, we don't have like enough contrast between the link and the background, so try to avoid colors that are too similar or they don't have a good contrast. Now, there are other tools that you can use online, also from Adobe, like Adobe Color, and here you can choose specific palettes and you can create color themes. You can save color themes. You can save them also in the libraries. That's just one of the tools that you can use. So you can see here that we can choose colors, we can modify them, and once we have them, we can save them. Now, this is the code that we can copy and we can put anywhere we find the hexadecimal code. So for example, here I can change the color of the link by changing here the code of that color, which will impact the link. Now, this is a visited link actually. Let's also change here the visited link and Control V. So you can see this is now the orange one that we just pick from the website. So you find many ready-made colors that you can use, or also here we have some accessibility tools. And this is going to tell you the contrast ratio. This is an excellent tool. We already explained this in another video guide in the channel. So this will help you to choose colors that are well contrast. If they're not good, it's going to give you like a poor value here. So make sure that you have the green the green mark. Otherwise, it's not going to be good enough for accessibility, usability, readability reason. So make sure your website is always user-friendly and as usable. Now, as usual, if you want to know what other settings you can do with HTML, straight HTML, you can just go in Bootstrap Schools or another similar website, and you can see how you can stylize directly using the body or directly the inline style, for example, for a heading or a paragraph. So a lot of things can be done inside HTML directly, but you will see that the CSS will be better because it's going to be then applied not just to one page, but throughout the entire website, because we created many pages here in another lesson. But this time, if I go in the gallery, you can see this is still white. It doesn't have like this red background, and also the other pages, they're still white. So we need to stylize every page. Instead of doing that like page by page, we can create a single CSS and then apply it to the overall website, to all the pages. Now, down here, we saw the properties panel, and we saw that we have a HTML part, which contains like basic stuff like ordered list, unordered list, block quote, link to create the upper link. We saw the anchor and how to define an ID. We saw we can change the paragraph, the heading, and also we can give the document a title from here. Now we have also the CSS part. So let's see how this is going to work. So let's say here that we want to apply CSS, which means Cascade. Sorry about that. Cascade style sheet. Okay, now how we do that? We have three options. So the first option is going to be inline. The second option will be in the page. and it goes in the head of the HTML document. The third way is to create an external CSS and link it in the HTML page or document. Okay, so this is just to show you how we can basically add it directly here in the live preview. So we don't really need all the other numbers here, but this is just, again, an example. So inline means that I can underline a piece of text or the entire text and define this in here. So if I go here, CSS, we have some things we can already do. So for example, I can change the color. So if I click here, I can do this like yellow. And you can see now it changed the color directly. And in this case, it's called style color. And this is, again, the hexadecimal code with that specific color. And of course, I can do this even with a single word like this. So I can select the word from here or from the code, and then go down here and change the color. And that's going to affect only that part of the text. Now you can see this is inline style because it's right here inside this line of code. And this will be good if you need to style something directly in that page. But again, when you need to do the same thing on all the other pages, you need to go like page by page. So it's not the preferred way to apply a style sheet. Maybe if you just need to do one thing once and that's it, maybe that's good. But for the rest, it's better to use a CSS document. So you can see here that it's telling me that the targeted rule is an inline style. So the rules are the properties basically that you can apply to a certain part of your page, so you can stylize it. Now here we have the possibility, you see, to choose an inline style, define a new inline style, and apply a class if you do have a class, because perhaps you don't have it already, etc., etc. So class is a part of the CSS that contains rules, and also the ID is a particular type of CSS that contains rules. But we're gonna make this more clear later. We're gonna talk about this later on. Now, another thing I can change is the font. So right now I am in the CSS, and I specifically I am in the CSS of the listed element inside a ordered list. So you can see that from here I can pick the element that I'm working with. So this is the order list. Let me just make a little bit more space. So this is all the order list, and this is the list, the single element listed. So basically from here I can choose which element I want to work with, and each element has its own properties down here. Now sometimes they share same properties, like the document title is always the home page here still is the same for each one of those because this is from the page properties. But if I go in the body, instead of going like a single element at a time, if I apply a style to the entire body, that's going to affect everything. So for example, one thing I can do is change the font. So instead of using the default font, I can go with the next one, which is going to be this one here. And you can see it's affecting the whole page. So let me just take this and copy into another page. So I'm going to do Control-C, go to index, this is index. Let's go to gallery and let's do Control-V. Now you can see this is now plain HTML, doesn't have much style here. So this is, you see, standard link color, and everything is kind of standard. Now if I take this, so I take everything from the body, so here like this, and including the body tag itself. So from here to here, and I do Control-C, and let me just open up another page like Studio, okay, and I substitute this with the body